Yeah, hello. Is this one okay? Yeah. So let's continue with this one. I have switched off that device. No, don't be scared. Yeah. Don't be scared. Have confidence. If you have confidence, half the job is done. Next one, let's go fast. What event were the children in Ray Bradbury's story all summer in a day eagerly waiting? So before I give you the options, only you know. A. Their return to the earth. B. The arrival of the rocket people. C. Their teacher's return. And D. The appearance of the sun. Yeah, so it's option D. Now the next one. According to the poet, where are the large number of daffodils growing? Next one. In the field, under the trees, near the lake, in the garden. Yeah, beside the tree, beneath the trees, beside the lake, beneath the trees. So under the trees, near the lake. So B is the correct answer. In these lines, but a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. So what does stalk mean here? What does stalk mean here? A. Plant stems. B. Pacing to and fro. C. Hides in a corner. And D. Crowd. Octopi is the plural of octopus. So that means the trees spread their tentacles in that manner from all summer in a day. So in this cage bird, it is B. It is not the stem of a tree, plant, not that stalk. In the cage bird, it means pacing to and fro. Like we say, sometimes girls complain, I am being stalked, someone is following me. So going to and fro, so some movement. So paces to and fro. The bird is frustrated, angry, disappointed, and that is why he does all this. What is the patriot in Browning's poem referring to when he says, thus I entered and thus I go? So, the first one, his birth and death. B, his entry into public life and his decision to quit. His short-lived dramatic rise and fall in popularity. His career as a soldier. So, these are the four options. So, which one? Yes, it's C. His short dramatic rise and fall in popularity. No, not his entry into public life and his decision to quit. His dramatic, within a year, so many things happen. The poem, next one, the poem is based on the life of, the poem Abu Ben Adhem is based on the life of options. Abu Ben Adhem, a Muslim Sufi mystic from Persia. Abu Ben Adhem, a Sikh Sufi mystic from Persia. Abu Ben Adhem, a Muslim Sufi mystic from Korea. And Abu Ben Adhem, and an angel. Yeah, it's A. Muslim Sufi mystic from Persia. Those of you who have written A, that's the correct answer, right? Very good. Relating statements in MCQ. Yes. That means this is the assertion and the reason, and does the reason follow the assertion and all that. So that depends on the type. You have to read both of them and see whether the reason follows. Is the reason on account of the assertion? Okay, I'll repeat it twice. What was the last line of the poem 9 gold medals? What was the last line of the poem 9 gold medals? A. The last race about to begin. The last race about to begin. Second, said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. C. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. And D. They came to the finish line holding hands. I'll repeat if you want me. So, said more than these words ever will. It's B. Very good. It seems you all have done your job very well. So, if you have read right from A to Z, you'll be able to solve. You'll be able to get the full 16, and that means a lot. What does Portia ask Shylock to take from Antonio? A. His wealth. B. His contract. C. His flesh. D. His blood. Yes, his flesh. Go ahead, take it, but you cannot shed one drop of blood. That's what she tells him. So, his flesh. 12th one. When would Shylock lose his property and wealth? A. If he sheds Antonio's blood. B. If he forfeits the contract. C. If he does not take a pound of flesh. And D. If he does not forgive Antonio. So, when would he lose his property and wealth? Yeah. A. Very good. Green-eyed jealousy, it is as if that jealousy is being personified as having green eyes. But normally we think green is a positive color. Shakespeare, I don't know why he said green eyes. Green-eyed jealousy, that means jealousy is as if having green eyes. What good news is given to Lorenzo by Nerissa? What good news is given to Lorenzo by Nerissa? A. His wife and he shall inherit her father's wealth. A. His wife and he shall inherit her father's wealth. B. The Duke has called him to Venice. B. The Duke has called him to Venice. C. He has found favor in Shylock's eyes. He has found favor in Shylock's eyes. And D. He can return home without fear. He can return home without fear. So before I complete the options only, you know that it is the first one. His wife and he shall inherit his father's wealth. Her father's wealth, not his, of course. Her father's wealth. Very good. Oh, welcome. It's my job to help you all. What was Shylock's argument in not calling the sergeant? So why did he not want to call the sergeant to stop the bleeding? Portia had told her, have you appointed a sergeant in lest he should bleed to death? So what had he said? What was his argument? A. He did not want to pay for it. B. I'll repeat this one. He did not want to pay for it. B. Antonio doesn't want to hire a sergeant. Antonio doesn't want to hire a sergeant. C. It was not mentioned in the contract. It was not mentioned in the contract. And D. He wanted to kill Antonio. Yeah, on the superficial level, it is not mentioned in the bond. That is what he says. But his real intention was that he wanted to kill Antonio. Don't you all think so? That was his real intention. When he says, he argues, of course. So in that case, it is C. He argues that it is not mentioned in the bond. It was not mentioned in the contract. So we'll go for this one only, though his real intention was to kill Antonio. But he argues. So when we are talking about argument, if the intention is given, then you will write D. So these are very close ones. Keep this in mind. If you are asked what was Shylock's real intention in not appointing a sergeant, then the answer will be D. He wanted to kill Antonio. And the argument which he gives, he says it is not mentioned in the bond. And this is what helps Portia to win the case. What is not written in the bond will not be done or will not be carried out. So then she says the bond promises only a pound of flesh, not a drop of blood. So this not in the contract makes Shylock fall into his own trap. So for this one it is C, right? The C and D ones, they are so close. No, C. In this case, argument C Intention, if the question is related to intention, then it will be D. Okay? Daksh, why do you send those red ones? I'm scared. What is Bassanio ready to sacrifice in order to save Antonio? A. His life. B. His wife. C. Both of these. D. Neither of these. Yeah, I said that, see, this time I think they might repeat, because in ISC they have repeated. So you never know, they might repeat. So it's best you give it at least a reading so that you are not in trouble. Oh, I didn't study it at all. As it is, I am telling you, you must have studied it for your MCQs, right? So give it a reading. Going and being lost in the examination hall, it's better you give it a reading now. You have done it so many times, so once one reading will be enough. If it doesn't come, you all are blessed, and if it comes also, you are not in trouble. Okay? So in this one, which is the answer? Bassanio was ready to sacrifice in order to save Antonio what? His life, his wife. Both of these, neither of these. C. Yeah, I am ready to sacrifice my life, my wife, and all that he possesses. So his wife and life both. And why does Graciano wish that his wife was in heaven? Yeah, it is C. If you have written C, that's the answer, not D. Wife, life. So both of these. C is the correct answer. Okay? And why does Graciano wish that his wife was in heaven? A. So that she would have some power to change Shylock's mind. B. So that she could save Antonio's life. C. So that she could make Shylock pay for his sins. And D. So that she could give enough money to Shylock to repay Antonio's debt. I'll repeat it again. Why does Graciano wish that his wife was in heaven? So that she should have some power to change Shylock's mind, so that she could save Antonio's life. Yes, most of you have given me the answer. It's A. He said, "Na, I wish she were in heaven." So that she could make Shylock pay for his sins, and so that she could give enough money to Shylock to repay Antonio's debt. So this one, it's C. No, sorry, it's A. He wanted that she should go to heaven and use some divine power to change Shylock's mind. Ashita. Yes, it's A. Next one. What is the theme of the poem 9 Gold Medals? A. Togetherness. B. The spirit of sportsmanship. C. The winners of gold medals. And D. Special Olympics. Irony is you say something but you mean something else. What is the theme of the poem 9 Gold Medals? Togetherness, the spirit of sportsmanship, winners of gold medals, and Special Olympics. Yes, B. The spirit of sportsmanship. They did not care about the fact that they won't win the gold medal, though they had labored so much, they had come from far places, and yet they stood by their brother. So the feeling of solidarity. So spirit of true sportsmanship. Why did Joe Thompson get ready to keep Maggie with him? Options. She was left alone by everyone. Option A. She was left alone by everyone. Option B. She begged Thompson not to leave her alone. She begged Thompson not to leave her alone. See the options first and then give your answer, dear. Thompson felt pity on her. Thompson felt pity on her. And the last one, all of the above. The last one, all of the above. Yes, it's all of the above, don't you think? Everyone left her and went away. Send her to the poorhouse or all that. Then she said, "Oh, Mr. Thompson, please don't leave me." He felt pity. He was childless and he felt pity. What will happen to this girl? Sunset is not far away. So all the three, that means all of the above. So don't immediately start answering. Yes, it's D. Next one. What are the household works? This is a bit tricky. What are the household works done by Sibia? A. Gathered sticks, put dung to dry. These are all in one. Option A. Gathered sticks, put dung to dry, cooked, fetch water. This is the first option. Okay. B. Gathered sticks, put dung to dry, cooked, rearing of animals. I'm repeating B. Gathered sticks, put dung to dry, cooked, rearing of animals. C. Gathered sticks, making beads, cooked and fetched water. And D. Gathered sticks, making beads, woven silver threaded satin clothes. So which one did she do? Yeah, it's A. So the answer is gathered sticks, put dung to dry, cooked, fetched water. So you have to remember these are small details and you might be in trouble. Who is known as the staunch racist, who in the poem, who is known as the staunch racist, claiming the supremacy of the Aryan race? Sorry, not in the poem, it is in the prose. It is a wrong answer, wrong question. In the prose, who is the racist who claims the supremacy of the Aryan race? Yes, you all have given me the answer. The options are Hitler, Laszlo, Jesse Owens and Pierre de Coubertin. Yes, it's Hitler. Yeah, of course. If you all score 100, that is what more can I ask? I will be very happy. Next one. Which figure of speech is being used in the phrase? You all have done it yesterday also. Those of you who joined my live yesterday, you all have done it. I wandered lonely as a cloud. So metaphor, anecdote, simile, onomatopoeia. Yeah, it's A. Sorry, it's C, simile. It's C, simile. I wandered lonely like and as a cloud, like and as, they are your simile. Simile are metaphor, are as if as if cousins. They both go for an unlikely comparison, whereas in metaphor there is no use of like and as. In a simile we use like and as. Who is considered as the master of dramatic monologue? Who is considered as the master of dramatic monologue? A. Robert Browning, B. Shakespeare, D. Morgan, and D. Maya Angelou. Dramatic monologue. No, William Wordsworth is not mentioned here. No, not Shakespeare. It's Browning. See the beginning of the poem The Patriot and you will find, yes, he is noted for his dramatic monologue. The Patriot talks all to himself. Monologue, when more than two people and or more speak, we call it a dialogue. And monologue, only one person is speaking. So, who is the master of dramatic monologue? It's not Shakespeare. It's Robert Browning. So read whatever is given about the poet also or the authors in the beginning. You might find your answers there too. Please read them. Yes, of course, I am blessing all of you. You all are my children, so yes, why shouldn't I bless you? And especially, I have taken classes for all these 2 years. Why does the poet use the phrase like a lily in bloom in the poem? Like a lily in bloom. I'm sure you remember this line. So what are the options? Option A, to describe the great charm of Abu. To describe the great charm of Abu. B, to describe the great attraction of the golden book. To describe the great attraction of the golden book. C, to compare the charm of the heavenly angel. To compare the charm of the heavenly angel. And D, to compare the charm of the heavenly angel and the golden book. It's C, the heavenly angel, like a lily in bloom. So the heavenly angel was being talked about in this line. Why was Dr. Bellario unable to visit the Duke? Why was Dr. Bellario unable to visit? Yeah, for the previous one, it's C. Very good. And why was Dr. Bellario unable to visit the Duke? Love you too. A. He was under a debt. DEBT. He was under a debt. B. He was unwell. C. His family members were suffering. And D. He didn't have enough money to travel. What ridiculous options. So B. He was unwell. B. He was unwell. That's the correct option. Who is ready to pay twice or more the sum owned by Antonio? A. Portia. B. Balthazar. C. Bassanio. D. Antonio. So he is ready to pay twice the amount. Who is ready to pay twice the amount? Twice the amount. Who says go pay double the amount? And then also. So who says this? Bassanio had no money. So it is Portia. Bassanio offers the money in the court, but the money is actually Portia's. Remember, when Portia gets to know that how much does he owe the Jew, so he says 3,000 ducats. So she says go pay double the amount and then treble it and all that. So it's Portia, right? The correct answer is A. Many of you might be going for Bassanio, but no, it's Portia. Had Portia not given the money, what would have Bassanio done? Identify the figure of speech in the line, let me give light but let me not be light. There are so many confusions regarding it. In many solution books, they have given irony, but it is not an irony. Light has been used in two senses. One means the source of illusion in a double sense, and the other means opposite of heavy. A bad charactered woman. So the word light has been used in double senses. This is a pun. I wouldn't agree that this is irony. There is hardly any irony here. In quite a few solution books, they have given irony, but no, I don't agree with it. It's not an irony, it's a pun. The word light has been used in two senses, and here in Turner also, he is an authority on Shakespeare. Turner says, this is Shakespeare's favorite play of words. Light, one means brightness and other means an immoral woman. A woman of doubtful virtue is often called a light woman. So, Turner is an authority on Shakespeare, and he says that light has been used as a pun. What does Portia mean when he says, for a light wife doth make a heavy husband? A woman with less weight marries a man with heavy weight. Funny option. I'll repeat it again. Option A, a woman with less weight marries a man with heavy weight. Option B, she is rich while her husband is poor. She is rich while her husband is poor. C, option C, a woman with a loose character gives her husband a lot of worries. A woman with a loose character gives her husband a lot of worries. And D, a light complexion woman often gets a dark complexion husband. So the other options are so ridiculous that you know it's option C. Light means immoral woman, a woman of bad character. Immoral woman, naturally her husband will be worried. So it's not D, dear. Those of you who have written D, it's very funny. A light complexion woman often gets a dark complexion husband. That is not true. It's not that always a wife is fair and the husband is dark. Both can be equally fair. Yes. Don't worry, I am trying to see if I can send it. I am not tech savvy. I keep on telling you all. I am not a tech savvy person. Okay. So in that case, I'll try my best to see if I can send in the description box. Right? And one more practice paper is left with the MCQs, and then I'll just shift a little to how to write. How to frame your answers. I'll go for that. and I won't trouble you anymore. So, what does the book of gold in the poem signify? Option A divine book of records including the name of all people who love God. A divine book of records including the names of all people whom God loves. A divine book of records including the names of some people whom God loves. And D, all of the above. It's A. Very good. Who is Mrs. Jane in the story? Who is Mrs. Jane in the story? Friend of the drunk woman. Option A, friend of the drunk woman. B, Mr. Joe's wife. C, a neighbor. D, an advisor. So, who is Mrs. Joan? Mrs. Jane, sorry, Mrs. Jane. Yeah, it's option B, Mr. Joe's wife. Joe Thompson, Jane Thompson. Very good. Do it in this way in the examination hall, and then y'all are sure to get the 16. Y'all will rock, I'm sure. Why did the little girl not return home seeing the cold gloomy night? Why did the little girl not return home seeing the cold gloomy night? Option A, with the fear of going home only to be beaten for her unsuccessful sales. With the fear of going home only to be beaten for her unsuccessful sales. B, because of her poor house rooftop with so many holes. C, because of her mother. And D, both A and B. D, both A and B. It is D. See, her house also did not offer her any protection. There were holes, so it was so cold and they stuffed it. But still, it was very cold in her house. But still, she was outside. The main one should be with the fear of going home only to be beaten up by her father because she had not sold any matches. But this was also mentioned in the book. So, in that case, I think it should be D. Sibia's day was A, killing the crocodile, B, rescuing the Gujjar woman, C, killing the crocodile and rescuing the Gujjar woman, and D, finding the blue bead for her necklace. So, before I give you, yes, it's D. Finding the blue bead for her necklace. One thing, remember, while you are doing Jesse Owens, remember the records he had set, means how much he had jumped, the height. Remember those height, the one which he had set at the university level, and the one by Luslong, and the one which he jumped to get the gold medal, to create the record and get the gold medal. So write it down and remember it. The heights, 26 point whatever 26 feet or inches or whatever. So remember the measurements, please. Copy sentence of option. No, I think you are only supposed to write the options. Where do the Venetians live? Where do the Venetians live? That means people of Venice, where do they live? So option 1, in the underground water. B, in the underground settlements full of long tunnels. C, in the home, and D, under the trees. So where do they live? Venetians, not Venetians, not Venetians. Venus, people of Venus. Mercury, Venus. So where do they live? Yes, it's B. In the underground settlements full of long tunnels. Yes. How was the poet's mind at the beginning of the poem Daffodils? A, cheerful. B, melancholy. C, subconscious. D, scary. Yes, it's B. See, at this moment, you all should give a revision to whatever you all have studied. Everything, go through everything. This should be the last moment revision, should be for everything. Laying stress has been done earlier only. So it's melancholy, B, right? In her work, she described the cage bird and the free bird. Who is this? In her work, it's actually Maya Angelou. Here, the cage bird is described as cage bird. Yesterday, we had done the free bird. Remember the options, and I had told you what the cage bird refers to. A. American community. B. African American community. C. Black and white people. And D. The cage bird itself. Yes, Afro Americans, African American community. So it's B, option B. Option B. Next one. According to the poet, the speaker is described as. No, not this one, sorry, because here it is not clear which poem or. Next one. Why does Portia think that Bassanio should be bound to Antonio? Why does Portia think that Bassanio should be bound to Antonio? A. Antonio was a rich merchant. A. Antonio was a rich merchant. B. Antonio was one of her relatives. C. Antonio was Shylock's enemy. And D. Antonio had helped him when he was in need. So it's D. Antonio had helped him when he was in need. Why does what do Graciano and Nerissa quarrel about when he returns from Venice? A. A ring. B. A necklace. C. An earring. And D. A bracelet. Yes, it's the ring. This is rather Act 5 Scene 1 is known as the ring. It's famous or it's important for its ring episode. Why does Bassanio want to cut off his left hand? Why does Bassanio want to cut off his left hand? To show his bravery to Portia. To hide the fact that he has given up his ring. To hide the fact that he has given up his ring. C. To pay it in return for Antonio's debt. C. To pay it in return for Antonio's debt and to repay Portia for all her efforts. Yes. So these are obvious. To hide the fact that he has given up the ring. So he wants to hide it. Or rather he wants that he had cut off his finger and saying that he had lost his finger in trying to save the ring. And the last one of the MCQs from this book, and some of my students are also presenting me with the ones, but I can't, I am using this mobile. So, what news that does Antonio receive when he comes to Portia's house? So, that is when we come to Act 5, Scene 1, the last part. A. His case has been dismissed. His case has been dismissed. B. Shylock has been sent out of the country. Shylock has been sent out of the country. D. His ships have returned safely. His ships have returned safely. And D. Bassanio has found his ring. Yes, it's option C. His ships have returned safely. So that is the good news. He had thought he had become bankrupt because all his ships. That is also ridiculous. How can all his ships get wrecked at the same time? They were lost, gone somewhere here and there, gone astray, and some of them have been found. So the MCQs done with them. I'll discuss one question, how to find the keywords. So this is from the poem 9 Gold Medals. Just listen. I'm reading that extract. All round the field, you all can open your books and check it also. All round the field, spectators were gathered. All round the field, the spectators were gathered, cheering on all the young women and men. Then the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. These are the 4 lines, right? These are the 4 lines. This is the extract. Now see the first question. How will you mark it? How will you mark the keywords? Where had the young women and men come from? So where had they come? Many countries, of course. Many countries. So you will frame it into a full sentence. The young women and men had come from different countries, or had come from many countries. So many countries is your keyword. You will underline the word many countries. You are framing it into a sentence. The young men and women had come from many countries. This is the whole sentence. But you will underline many countries. If you underline, that means you are asking the examiner to see that this is the right answer you have given. When you mark your keywords, you get more marks. Why? Because it makes the examiner's job easy. So he feels happy. Oh, that means this is like maths. You underline the marks, the answer. So here also keywords. Now the next one. This is the first question, and there are 3 subdivisions. So each one will be carrying 1 mark. What had brought them together? What had brought them together? So the wish to compete with the athletes of different countries, or to win medals in the Special Olympics, or to participate in the Olympics and bring glory to their country, had brought them together. So you have framed it. But what are the keywords? You will write prove themselves, underline. Win medals, underline. Participate, underline. And win glory, underline. These are the main keywords of the second part. So in a sentence, others are like this is the subject, this is the verb and all that. But one which is the most important word related to the question, that is your keyword. So once you get this notion in your head, you won't have difficulty in finding the keyword. Why? Because you know the answer. When you don't know the answer, why can't you get the keyword? Keyword is nothing different. In your answer only the keyword is there. If you know the answer, you can always mark it. Yeah, specially abled people, Special Olympics. We'll come to that. There is one question. And the third part of the first question only, how had they prepared themselves for the event? How had they prepared themselves for the event? See, spent many weeks and months in training. The athletes, the young men and women, or the athletes, had spent many weeks and months in training. This is the full sentence, and this is your full answer. And the keywords, many weeks, months. How had they prepared? They had trained themselves, or they had spent a long time. They had spent many weeks and months, whichever you write. They had spent many weeks and months in training. So many weeks and months. Yeah. Next question. This is also 3 marks. And there are again 3 subdivisions. That means each of them will be carrying 1 mark. So don't write lengthy answers. Please don't. You lose your time. And don't think you will get marks because you are writing so much. You are to write what they are asking for, not what has happened before this or what will happen after this. That means the questions will get overlap. This is my warning. Please don't write more than necessary. Whatever your school teachers say. I've been in this job for the last how many years? 29 years. I started in 1995, and since then I'm teaching ICSE. I'm also from an ICSE background. So please don't write lengthy answers. Your teachers, many times I have heard many students say, ma'am, they don't give us marks unless we write long answers. ICSE is not long answers. Answer to the point and a full 100. Only remember that your tense should be correct, and the grammar should be correct, prepositions and all that, and to the point answers. That is why, yes, keywords, underline them. See the question, second one, what was the last event of the day? What was the last event of the day? So the last event of the day, what should your answer be? Yes, The 100 meters race. So you will frame your answer in this way. The last event of the day was the 100 meters run or 100 meters race. So what will you underline? Which is the keyword? 100 meters race. But you have made it a full sentence, the last event of the day. So you pick your answer from the question and then you write the last event of the day was the 100 meters race or the 100 meters run, whichever you want to write, run or race, it means the same. But you will underline your keywords are 100 meters run or 100 meters race. No, you can do it with that one only, the pen which you are writing. Only don't make it too bold. Make it so that the examiner sees it. But don't make it so bold that your paper gets torn on the other and it's difficult to write on the other side. Don't do it in that way. And if you want, you are a stickler for neatness, you can use your pencil, but the keyword should be visible. That is what, right? And the second part, how many athletes were participating in the event? Only one keyword will be here, but you will have to write a sentence. 9 athletes were participating in the event. 1 marks. 9 athletes, just don't write 9. 9 athletes were participating in the event and underline 9. And the last one of this, what signal were they waiting for? So they were waiting to hear the sound of the gun. They were waiting to hear the sound of the gun or the pistol. So sound of the pistol. This is your keyword. These are your keywords. Sound of the pistol. Yes. So you get your 3 marks full if you write in this way. The third one. What happened to the youngest athlete halfway through the race? And how did he respond? So this one has 3 marks but only 2 subdivisions. So how will you write it? The youngest athlete stumbled, staggered, he fell to the ground. Halfway through the race, pick your answer from here. Halfway through the race or as the race began, since it is given halfway through the race, the youngest athlete staggered or stumbled and fell to the ground. So you can, if you are writing staggered, stumbled, underline them. This is what he did. And fell to the ground on his knees. Fell to the ground. And then the second part, how did he respond? What did he do? He cried out in frustration and anguish. Why? All his dreams and effort had been dashed to dirt. So this is his response. Responses: cried out, frustration, anguish. These are the keywords. Frustration, anguish, and cried out. This is how he reacted when he fell to the ground. Why? All his efforts had been dashed in the dirt. You can also quote dashed in the dirt. So dashed in the dirt also. Now the fourth question. What strange turn did the story take at this point? What strange turn? So what happened? So the other 8 athletes stopped in their tracks. One by one they turned round. They came back and helped him to get up. Or you can say they lifted the young athlete to his feet. Then they joined hands and all of them walked to the finishing line. This is what they did. So this is a 3 marks question and only one is there. No subdivisions here. That means 3 marks. So 3 lines for this answer only. So what are the keywords here? Stopped in their tracks. Stopped. Turned round. Second keyword. Third one, came back. Fourth one, lifted. Fifth one, joined hands. And the last one, walked to the finish line. Right? So you will frame them as full sentences and underline the words which are most important according to the question in the sentence, which are the main answers. You will underline them. They are your keywords. And now comes the fourth one. The fifth one, which carries 4 marks. Why does the poet say that the banner Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark? One part. And the second part, what human quality does the poem celebrate? So the poet says Special Olympics. So why does the poet say that the banner Special Olympics, there is also a pun on the word Special Olympics. Here Special Olympics, when the banner read, it was meant that it is for specially abled people. Specially abled peoples, people with special needs, the Olympic was meant for them. But the action of the other athletes, the action of the other athletes, so you can mention a little, what did they do? Made this event special in a different sense. So Special Olympic means special athletes with special needs, specially abled athletes. But here it becomes special. Why? Because of the gesture, the sportsmanship shown by the other athletes. So this is remarkable. The remarkable sportsman spirit shown by the other athletes. And the second part, so that means this will be divided into 2 plus 2, 4 marks and 2 parts. So first part carries 2 marks and the second part carries 2 marks. So in this one, you will underline Special Olympics and then specially able athletes, underline these. And then you say, when you are writing about the action of the athletes, the action and special in a different sense. Special, different sense, underline different sense. And now the last part of this question, what human quality does the poem celebrate? In the box which you have before the poem starts also, the qualities are mentioned. So I always suggest read the box, they can be answers to some of your questions. So this poem celebrates the human quality of cooperation, collaboration, solidarity, what and what not. Because the thought that they would not be able to win the medal does not come in the minds of the other athletes. Their main concern is to lift this lad from, help the lad to get up from the ground, and then they join hands to reach the place, reach the finishing line. So a brilliant example. So this poem celebrates the human quality of cooperation and collaboration. And in today's world, we don't need more competition, rather we need cooperation and collaboration. You can add this line at the end. So you will underline cooperation, you will underline collaboration, and one more thing, compassion. Compassion, what does it mean? Sympathy. So you will underline these. So these are your keywords. So I gave you an example how you will frame your answers. 3 marks, how much to write. And if there are 3 parts, so 1 mark each. If there are 2 parts and there are 4 marks, so divide your, space it in that way. And write the full sentence and the word which is the most important, underline it, that is your keyword. Okay. So I think I have done this job and the MCQs have been done. Stories, actually not stories, these are the reference, you will find it in your Merchant of Venice book only, regarding Thisbe and Pyramus, Troilus and Cressida. I think you are asking about it. Blue bead, it's more or less the same. You know the answers, you will only frame the words which are, you will only write, underline the words which are more important according to you. So in the blue bead, who is Sibia? Sibia is a child woman. So child woman. If you get a question, who is Sibia? Sibia is a, what is her age? You mentioned that. If you are given at least 2 marks for it, then Sibia lives in the forest with her family. She is so many years old and she is a child woman. So 9 years, I'm just giving 12 years, whatever it is. She is, I think, 12 years old. And she is a child woman. You'll underline child woman. And she lives with her family. She is whatever. She is born to toil. So, born to toil. So, the most important ones, and regarding the crocodile, Blue B, no, I at this moment I am not suggesting you to skip anything. Just give it a revision at least once. Please, please, please. It's better to go prepared than to sit in the exam hall and say, no, this is repeated. No.
विष्णुविलासिनि भगवती